Hello, everyone, and welcome back inside the Week 8 edition of the Fantasy Champion Show. I'm Nick Anastos along with Bob Morin, keeping it moving fantasy football-wise. Week number 8 already upon us. Hard to believe, Bob. Huh? It's flying by.
Yeah, I know. I don't like it. I'm starting to get a little depressed because the weeks are going by fast. Too fast.
We're getting in that football routine, though, and starting to enjoy it, starting to expect it. On 3 nights a week now, permanently Thursdays. We love it. All right, we've got the latest stuff for you. First of all, this guy has been not only on my radar for the last 3 years. I've been waiting 3 years for this week to arrive. But 3 weeks ago, the man to my right, Mr. Morin, cut Rashard Jennings. Just no room for him, understandable. But now his chance is here. Maurice Jones-Drew out indefinitely. Any reports are what? Anywhere from a week to a month to 2 months. Nobody knows what's going on. So Jennings comes in, 6'4", 225-pound back that can get out in the flat, in the passing game, and can also pound between the tackles. Now the Jaguars, look, I'm getting excited here. I shouldn't get too excited because Jones-Drew is Jones-Drew. You're not going to just have a new star come in and take over like that overnight. But you can get production on the ground and in the air.
Yeah, I think that this guy is. I drafted him. I think I wasted a pretty, not wasted, but I used a pretty
4th rounder, I think.
Yeah, high pick on him. Jones-Drew was still a holdout when I drafted him, and I held on to him for a while. I just, like Nick said, I didn't have space for him, but I think he can contribute in the passing game. So in PPR leagues, I think he should probably be started. And in this game, I was talking to you earlier, and I don't think he's going to, be able to rush the ball a lot, and we think his yards are going to be on receiving.
Right.
And obviously, I think to be a good fantasy play, he's going to have to get in the end zone.
He does have a career yards per carry average of nearly 5 a carry, though, so he can run the football.
Yeah.
He's big.
Yeah.
I think that the matchup may not favor the ground portion of his skill set, but they will throw if they're behind against the Green Bay Packers. So definitely, if you haven't done so already, go out and grab yourself Rashard Jennings. He was only at 13% owned at the beginning of the week.
Yeah.
And it was up to about 50%, I think, this morning.
It's actually about 20%.
There's kind of a gold rush going on for him right now.
Definitely.
So, who else should we add? Quarterback Brandon Weeden.
Yeah,
we talked about him a lot the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I like what's going on there. I think Josh Gordon has come into his own here in the past couple of weeks, and he finally has a legitimate deep threat. He would have had 2 touchdowns last week if it wasn't for that ball that he dropped when he entered the sunlight there in Indy. Did you end up seeing that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was unfortunate because that would have won the game for him too.
He was like a center fielder.
Exactly.
Fighting the sun.
The sun. So I think Weeden, he's thrown for over 250 yards. I think the past couple of weeks he's had some good performances. Playing the Chargers this week. If you need a quarterback, take a shot at him.
St. Louis Rams owners should listen up as well. Daryl Richardson. Downhill runner who has looked good over the last couple of weeks. And Steven Jackson, carries are still there. Production, obviously not the same as it was a year ago. He was dealing with a groin injury for a few weeks early on in the year. But I think he's healthier and healthier, Bob, and starting to at least warrant a 2 position on the back depth chart.
Yeah,
primarily.
Definitely.
And then, of course, if you go and grab Richardson, who's available in 60% of fantasy leagues right now, then I think you might be onto something with St. Louis.
Yeah, I like Richardson just to have him. He's a young guy, especially in a keeper league. Keep an eye on him. He could have a future there. As we all know, Jackson, I don't know what his contract situation's like, but, he's getting older. We've seen a decline. He did score a touchdown, though, last week. Like you said, the carries are still there. So, but Richardson, when he's been out there, he's been producing enough as maybe a flex spot. So
nice change of pace back, and of course Jackson could go down.
If he goes down, I think Richardson becomes very relevant.
All right, this is the Fantasy Champion Show, the Week 8 edition. Nick Anastos with Bob Morin, wrapping up, I guess, our recap of the week and getting ready for the Week 8 matchups. We'll get you the start 'em, sit 'em, plus the predictions, and a new segment this week called, the Fantasy Bet. We'll have a running tab, if you will, starting this week forward. So we'll get to that before the end of the show. But just to quickly touch up on Week 7, which was an interesting week, you got some shout-outs.
Oh, yeah, I got a couple. I want to say Lance Briggs the other night. A lot of people got to see him on a big stage, Monday Night Football. Looked pretty good. I think that whole Bears defense, I really went into work the next day, and I was talking to my coworkers saying that defense is for real.
Yeah.
I think they're pretty good. They contain Calvin Johnson and that whole offense really to nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole game, too. I mean, the two Detroit fumbles obviously didn't help.
Looks real good, too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and another shout-out, everyone who owns Arian Foster, myself, one of those owners. It's awesome to have him. He's been a touchdown machine. Deserves some props. We don't talk about him ever because he is one of the best in fantasy.
Seems like we talk about him a lot on this show.
I don't think so.
A lot on this show.
I don't think so, Nick.
Maybe a little too much.
Okay.
I would like to point out Santana Moss, who not only scored 2 touchdowns, made only 3 catches, scored 2 of them. One was under 2 minutes left. It put the Skins on top before the defense let them down, and the Giants came back to win.
That was a good game.
That was a good game to watch. But Moss didn't play as much. Now, he's a veteran. He's not a new name for fantasy owners. They know who he is, but he's got kind of a different role this season with the Redskins. They're using more packages, down and distance situations, and he's really, snaps are way down, but he's really only seeing the field on really third down situations.
He's kind of like almost like a Deion Branch for the
Right.
Pats in the same type of situation.
He's better than Deion Branch.
Yeah. No, I think, definitely. I would take Santana Moss over Deion Branch. Where did Santana Moss play before the Redskins?
The Jets.
There we go. Just testing you.
Oh, come on. You got to come harder than that.
Just testing you. Just keeping you sharp.
All right, how about Terrell Suggs as well, real quick, making a comeback and looking pretty good, looking in game shape for the Ravens, even though it was a bad loss.
Yeah, and a lot of people talking, into the week saying how much is he going to play? Are they going to hold him back? He looks like he was playing pretty hard to me, and
he's available in our league.
He is available in our league.
Our IDP league.
A lot of people maybe want to see what else he can do, and I guarantee he'll be a hot waiver commodity in the next week or two.
All right, let's get to the starts here on the Week 8 edition of the Fantasy Champion Show. Nick Anastos with Bob Morin. The quarterback spot, Andrew Luck, has, for the most part, I think, lived up to the bill, and you like the matchup this week with the Colts as well.
Yeah, playing against Tennessee this week. Tennessee, this is a stat. I love stats. Has given up 19 points to every quarterback they faced this year. At least 19 or more in fantasy to every quarterback they faced. And Luck's been playing well. Indy's offense I like Indy's offense.
Yeah.
So I think this is a great matchup for him, and I think everyone will be pretty happy with their Colts this week.
And Carson Palmer has been quietly consistent, not outstanding. Doesn't throw enough touchdown passes, but he can rack up yards, and it always seems like ends up having to throw 40, 45 times a game.
Yeah, I think he's finally got a couple of weapons. They're healthy right now. It's pretty cool. I think if McFadden can get going, the way he's supposed to be, this offense could be pretty dangerous.
Yeah, and I'm not sold on the Chiefs' defense either,
Chiefs
which is the matchup.
Chiefs are gonna, they're going to really be ugly to watch. So,
All right.
Eddie Quinn holding the starting job down.
Yeah, I mean those are guys I guess to start in a pinch. But the biggest start of the week though, Peyton Manning.
Oh yeah.
New Orleans at Denver. The Broncos coming off the bye week. Peyton Manning historically has blown up in the week following the bye week. 2 weeks to prepare. He's a football mind. He gets into it. And it's on national TV Sunday night. New Orleans defense has been atrocious. Green lights everywhere for the Broncos, first of all. But I think Peyton Manning really could have a top finish, maybe. Top 2-3 finish this week in fantasy.
Yeah, one of my leagues I'm in, he's projected at 35 points.
Wow.
Which that's a monster league.
Wow.
So if he has that's on CBS actually. The CBS Sports gave him a 35-point projection. But this game is going to be fun to watch. If you like offense, I think it's going to be a great game. I love that it's Sunday night. It's going to be fun. I can't wait. For
the record, though, Aaron Rodgers will absolutely bring a flamethrower against Jacksonville.
I know he will, but
just saying.
His stats could be contained because of the lead or whatnot.
Just saying.
We'll see. We've seen it a lot with Brady around here, okay?
All right, continuing to look at starts. Well, hold on. First of all, sits for the quarterbacks. Those include Cam Newton. You're giving up on Cam Newton, apparently.
Yeah.
And a lot of fantasy owners are in a tough situation because of Cam Newton. Look in our league.
Yeah.
Our Cam Newton owner is 1-6.
Last place.
Right.
Yeah, I just don't like. I think Chicago. We got to see them on Monday night. I talked about it in the first segment. they shut down Calvin Johnson, and
Yeah, Charles Tillman is the best. He's the best corner in the game right now.
A great linebacker. So I think Cam Newton's going to have a tough time running too. I think their only shot is maybe we'll see Jonathan Stewart do something for once.
Yeah, and then Alex Smith, who has been pretty good actually here and there so far, but you don't like Arizona, the matchup of the Cardinals.
Against Seattle last week wasn't his best game, but obviously Seattle was one of the better defenses in the league. But yeah, this week, Monday Night Football against Arizona, I think I'm a big fan of the secondary of the Cardinals, and I think Smith not being one of the better quarterbacks in the league, I think he'll struggle.
All right, it's the Who's in the Stable portion of the Fantasy Champion Show here. The Week 8 Stable, running back talk, my favorite portion of the show. And one of my favorite backs, Willis McGahee, poised for a big game in that big game we were talking about, the New Orleans-Denver matchup Sunday night. Willis McGahee, kind of like Peyton Manning in that I think the bye week really kind of rejuvenates him physically. So he has a strong history coming out of bye weeks as well in years past with Baltimore and with Buffalo. He's been a top 15, knocking on the door, top 10 back all season. And again, New Orleans just can't get out of their own way defensively, Bob. We said Broncos, green lights. That means Willis McGahee as well at the running back spot.
Yeah, 26 points per game they've been allowing opposing running backs
New Orleans.
this year. 26, an average of 26 points, fantasy points a game. That is crazy. So, yeah, if you're
hideous.
If you're
That's what
even
it
thinking twice about starting Willis McGahee, then you have something you need to think about.
All right, moving on to the Oakland matchup with the Raiders. They are on the road against Kansas City. Darren McFadden is a guy, first-round status, right, on average?
Yeah.
ADP first round?
Yeah.
Second round, maybe?
Yeah. I don't know if I would have taken him high.
Definitely has not performed to that level here so far, and some owners have shown some frustration, but I'm with you. You got to start him. You got to stay with him. When he's healthy, when things are going well, he can really rip off some long runs. I still think he's got that in him. Unfortunately, he's never quite 100% healthy.
Oh, yeah. Darren McFadden is who we were talking about.
Right.
Okay, yeah. McFadden with the matchup this week, yeah. That's always my worry about him. He's always hurt.
Yeah.
And even if he's going healthy into a game, he leaves a game. I feel like he leaves a game every time he's out there. So he's scary for me. I've never owned him ever in any of my fantasy leagues, so I don't have a lot of experience with it, but I don't want to ever go down that road. So
this is the Week 8 edition of the Fantasy Champion Show with Bob Morin. I'm Nick Anastos taking a look at the running backs, who's in the stable portion of the show. All right, how about a quick one? Alfred Morris at Pittsburgh. Now, this seems semi-obvious, but you got to roll with the wave, roll with the tide, so to speak. Ride the hot hand. He's been hot, consecutive double-digit fantasy numbers. He's been one of the top 10 backs all season. You can't sit a guy like this. Now, maybe in years past you'd think about it for a couple of minutes when you take a look and you see that they're playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I just don't think the Steelers are quite what they were, even defensively. They're still strong on defense, but they don't scare fantasy owners anymore.
No, and I think that Pittsburgh, their defense is nowhere where it's ever been in the past in recent years. So I think it's going to be a good matchup for sure.
The wide receivers, we like. First of all, Randall Cobb against Jacksonville. Oh, yeah. I said the flamethrower was coming through with the Packers. It is, and Cobb had kind of a coming out party last week in the win for Green Bay. So Cobb, you like as a start, as a flex probably.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go with Cobb. Actually, in one of my leagues, we start 3 receivers though, which is interesting. We have a flex and 2 running back spots. I'm gonna start Cobb in the flex. I had him in last week because of bye weeks, injuries. He had 2 touchdowns. He's just one of those guys. He's like a Percy Harvin, where he can run the ball.
He's versatile.
Yeah, he catches the ball. I love guys.
And he's a deep threat too.
Exactly. Yeah, he's got speed, and then he can get you points on special teams, which, I'll take anything I can get.
Yeah, that's well, it depends on the rules and the settings, so to speak. But either way, I love the ability to stretch the field, and he's definitely got big play capability, which is always big in fantasy. Moving along, wide receivers, Thomas Decker. I'm not going to talk too much about that. Like we said, Denver, everybody. How about Brandon Gibson, who has been quietly, again, a serviceable flex, wide receiver, small guy, slot guy. They move in and out, move him around pre-snap with St. Louis. And again, we're talking about the New England Patriots secondary and how they have allowed anybody to run all over the field against them, against the pass. They are in the bottom 5 of the league against the pass, and no sign of an improvement after what we saw against the Jets last week, Bob. In fact, that close call really frightened a lot of Patriots fans up here in New England. That secondary is a problem. Therefore, you could see, in my logic, how Brandon Gibson
I see it.
Could be a nice start, a nice sleeper start, so to speak, at wide receiver.
100%. I see where you're coming from. I just think the Pats are going to have a good week in their secondary. I think it's going to turn around. I think it's going to turn around this week. And I like Gibson. He's shown great stuff. He looks like a player. I like Quick. He's been doing better too with St. Louis.
Yeah.
And Gibbons too. They've had 3 receivers since Amendola's been injured. They've come on, and I just think this is the Pats' week. I'm going to stick to it. I think, for real, they're going to come out and play good defense. And notoriously, too, there's something to look at. Those games over in London haven't really ever been high-scoring for some reason. So I don't know what it is.
We'll see.
Something in the air, or they're tired.
Right. Patriots arriving, by the way, planning to arrive Friday morning, 48 hours, give or take, before the kickoff.
Like I said in the
could be something to watch.
This isn't their first rodeo.
Okay.
They've been there, done that. I'm sure they know what they're doing. I'm not questioning anything about the Patriots.
Of course not. All right.
Hey, Bill, we trust.
That's right. That's right. All right, let's go with some.
Wait, Lord Belichick.
Yeah, Lord Belichick says it's okay. It's okay. All right, Hakeem Nicks. You don't like it against Dallas?
No, I don't. I think he's not 100% healthy, and I'm just staying away from him right now. I don't like what I see against Washington last week. A matchup a lot of people would have said favorable, didn't do anything. So, the whole team. Victor Cruz really is the only guy that's your consistent play. Bradshaw's been up and down, so no.
Nicks has a lot of drops,
Yeah,
by the
he
way.
does, and that's kind of haunted him his whole career.
But I would start Nicks because I think he is one of those special athletes that can really cause matchup problems. He's big, he's fast, he's strong, and he's good. Has had a little bit of a case of the dropsies.
He's good, but
right.
I just don't like the injury. What's going on with him? I wouldn't start him if you have other options.
Well, if you have other options, then maybe. But you're still talking about Hakeem Nicks, and I think he's got to warrant a start. Dallas secondary has struggled. Eli Manning's going to throw it around. I think there's a lot of points in that game.
Yeah, they shut down Steve Smith last week, which, Carolina I know is struggling mightily, but still.
This could be one of those situations where you look back Monday and say, what was I thinking if Nicks blows up? Because he could. He had a 200-yard game in week 2.
Yeah, I know, but that was week 2. That's been his only game he's had all year. So I'm just not jumping on the Knicks bandwagon right now.
All right. Other sits. Other sits. Steve Smith. And this is coming from a Steve Smith owner, the Carolina Panthers wide receiver. Even though I said off air, Bob's going to end up starting him anyway.
No, I just don't like Steve Smith against Chicago. I know I've talked about this a couple times on the show now with Calvin Johnson Monday night. He got absolutely shut down. I think it's going to be the same deal. I think Carolina's, offense is going to struggle. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't really start any of them in confidence.
Yeah, I would avoid Steve Smith as well, facing one-on-one bump and run coverage with Charles Tillman, who may be the best shutdown corner right now on the planet.
You look good.
The St. Louis Patriots in England matchup, we revisit Brandon Lloyd against St. Louis. I don't like it. Lloyd, 8 targets last week, 1 catch for 6 yards. Yeah. Granted, it was against the Antonio Cromartie and the Jets, but until further notice, Brandon Lloyd is hurting too many fantasy owners right now.
He hasn't really impressed me too much, and I look at...
Until further notice.
Yeah, exactly. The league we're into, I look at the owner that owns him. I'm a Brady owner in that league, so I keep tabs on what's going on, obviously, with the receivers, and he hasn't really even been playing Lloyd lately, so
Right.
it's good for him. He has other options, but yeah, I think he's been a disappointment. He's good. I think he's good in the Patriots scheme of things. He's not going to say too much.
He's one of those athletes,
He's
too.
an athlete. Oh, did you see the catch he made out of bounds?
Yeah.
He's
got excellent footwork, toeing the sidelines.
Oh, yeah.
He's
Great.
the number one offense, or excuse me, the number one option. Not option, that would also be incorrect.
No, he's like the number 4.
But he's the number one wide receiver.
Yeah.
At least X's and O's wise.
Yeah, well, Welker is a slop guy.
Right.
Yeah, I know what you're
In the number one offense, so it's hard to sit him, but until further notice.
They're going to him like 4th. Check.
Well, he got 8 targets
I know. You know what I'm saying, though? No, I'm just saying, though.
against the Jets.
Yeah, but a lot of the guys on the Patriots probably had 8 targets. All of the other guys had, But yeah, he was defended by Cromartie a lot of the games, so yeah, it's tough.
All right, starts. I like Jason Witten in that Dallas game. Again, he traditionally has big games on the big stages against big rivalries, and nothing bigger in the NFC East than the Dallas Cowboys and the Giants. And again, Witten seems like that spleen injury that bugged him for not 1 week but 3 weeks early on. He played, but he wasn't himself. I think that's in the rearview mirror, and you're going to see that 9-time Pro Bowler show it once again. Even though I'm probably might have to end up sitting him again.
This is a Jason Witten owner right now.
That's right.
Telling himself that Jason Witten's going to be okay.
But I may have to sit him because I like Tony Gonzalez with Atlanta even better.
Me too. I'd play Gonzalez over Witten.
Yeah.
Sure.
So unfortunately, I like what Witten's going to do, so I will recommend the start. You like Tammy as well. Again, not to dwell on Denver, but
no, we get into these things every week. We find a matchup that we absolutely love, and we talk the daylights out of it, and that's what we're doing here. But we have to beat it into people. These are the guys that are New Orleans defense. It's such a big thing in fantasy.
Yeah, and then quickly as well, Heath Miller has quietly been pretty good in that dink and dunk offense with the Steelers.
I just picked Heath Miller up about 3 weeks ago. I have Jimmy Graham. Obviously, everybody knows about Jimmy Graham's injuries right now. So Heath Miller's been a great. He filled in for a bye week, and he's filled in for an injury week now. Last week with Graham out and had a touchdown. He has 4 or 5 touchdowns. I think he's Big Ben's favorite red zone target right now. So why not?
All right. Time for the new segment here on the Fantasy Champion Show. This is the Week 8 edition. Bob Morin, Nick Anastos. It is called the Wager of the Week. The Wager of the Week. And we're going to tie it full circle to where we began with Rashard Jennings taking over the primary ball-carrying duties for Jacksonville. They've got a unfavorable matchup, as they usually do. Jags are pretty bad against the Packers. But I really think that he is ready to come out onto the fantasy stage because he is involved in the passing game. More so maybe than the run game. The O-line's not very good there in Jacksonville, and they got the backup quarterback. But we'll keep it fantasy related. I'm going to say 100 yards, so that means 10 fantasy points is our over-under. I'm saying over, and that's the wager of the week.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to take you on that because I don't think I've been in this situation, same as you. Week 1, I was like, oh, yeah, he's going to do well, blah, blah, blah.
Wrong, because Jones-Drew played in Week 1.
He did play in Week 1, but he didn't. Jennings started the game.
But they shared carries. And he got hurt in that game.
He got hurt. I understand that, Nick. I'm just saying, I don't think it's going to be like you're thinking. I could be totally wrong, but this is why it's a bet. There's a winner and a loser. I'm gonna take the under on that. I just don't think he's going to have a great game. I think people are jumping on him, and no. It's not there, but yeah.
Listen, here's the deal. Blaine Gabbert is not going to play.
I understand.
Okay, so they got the backup quarterback in there, which is who? Chad Henne.
So they're screwed.
Okay, hold on. They're going to dumb down the offense, which means more screens and more basic runs. And guess who's involved in both? Rashard Jennings.
I understand that.
So the ball is going to be getting into his hands one way or the other.
I just don't think they're going to be able to do anything. They're going to get shut out.
Against the Packers defense, which is allowed a decent amount of points.
I don't think the Packers defense is that bad. I think against an offense like this, the Packers defense, they're going to make the Packers defense look like one of the best in the league.
Are you aware of how rare a shutout is as well?
I'm aware of everything.
That's how we do it here on the Fantasy Champion Show.
Detroit, Chicago almost had a shutout over Detroit the other day. That came down right at the end. You saw it.
Yeah.
13-7. I thought for sure
that was with 2 fumbles inside the 5-yard line.
I understand that, but that's part of the game.
All right.
And I'm calling it,
All right, that's
I'll
our
do that.
wager of the week.
What's our wager? 100 like fantasy bucks or something?
100 fantasy tokens here on the Fantasy Champion Show.
Soda, a beer.
That's fine. All right, we're wrapping up. That's the Week 8 edition of the Fantasy Champion Show. Another successful show in the vault. We'll be back next week. It's playoff time. Things are heating up. Now's the time. It's those middle weeks always in the season that start the runs, the playoff runs, the championship runs eventually.
Yeah, next week we're going to start getting a little more into trading. That's becoming big, and we're going to touch on that, and it should be exciting.
All right, we'll be back again next Wednesday here on Facebook. Find us at the Fantasy Champion Show. For our producer, MC The Brick, my partner, Bob Morin, I'm Nick Anastos saying so long.
I like that last segment.
Yeah.
Want the wager?
Yeah.